Hi, I'm Jennifer from Shabby Fabrics. Today I'm going to show you how to make these cute fabric trays. I just love having them in my sewing room because it helps me stay organized. So when I'm looking for a tool or a pin or wherever it might be, it's more readily available. Because otherwise I find things get shoveled underneath my fabrics and I just can't find stuff. So let me show you how to make these. They're really fun and super easy. It'll make a great gift for a sewing friend too. Now the ones we have here were made from the Flower Sugar collection, and there's pinks, yellows, blues, reds, so many cute colorways. Let's work with the teals today and I'll show you how to make this exact tray. Now just keep in mind that you can just alter the measurements of what I'm going to show you today and make the tray any size you want to fit your needs. As you can see, this has a taller sides than this one, and then this is a nice rectangular one. So you can follow the same procedure and steps, and then you can just make that whatever fits works best for you. First thing that we'll do to make this one is we just picked two of the Flower Sugar fabrics. I have one fabric that's in the middle, that's kind of the ditzy print, and then the main floral on the outside. So I picked the same two for us today, and those are cut to 9 inches, and I have a fusible fleece as well. So you can iron the fusible fleece to either one. We'll just choose the ditzy print. With a nice hot iron, just iron that as you would iron anything else. I'll just simulate that. And then once that's together, with your other piece right sides together, so you've got the fusible fleece, this right sides together, you will sew a 1/4 inch seam around all of 3 sides and part of a 1/4. Now I've done that ahead of time so you can see that. So I'm going to show you that. So there's my opening. You can maybe even make a little bit of a bigger opening. It just makes it easier to turn it, but you will have more hand sewing in the end. So that's why we don't do a huge opening. Now one thing I like to do, either with scissors or with the rotary cutter before I turn things through, is I like to just clip that corner. It makes the corner just pop out a little bit more readily. And we'll turn this through. Okay. You would just turn that all the way through. And this is where I love to use that turning tool that you've maybe seen me use in other videos. This one right here. It just helps to get those corners out. So just get that in there, get those corners poked out so it's nice and square. You get the idea. And I've done this ahead of time so we can put this one aside for now. But you know, when you start arm wrestling with these, you just want to finish it up. You just want to get it out of there. So it's completely done. Let's get that corner. There's something very satisfying about turning something through and making sure it's as turned through as it can be. So you get the idea. We'll turn that all the way through. And then at that point, now let me point out something with regard to these trays. If you want, a tray like this doesn't need to have a magnet in it. But if you have pins, look at these. This is magnetic. So if you want a tray for pins, you might want to put a magnet in the center so that if this tips over or gets bumped, that your pins won't be falling out. So if you want to do that, in that case, or even if you just like the quilted look, I think the quilted look is really nice. What you'll do at that point, you're going to have this opening still, is you'll begin to draw a grid on top of your square. And what we did looks like a 2-inch interval. So if you start with corner to corner and you draw this line on either side of your diagonal by 1 inch, and then you just come over another 2 inches, and so on and so forth, and do the same and come back this direction doing the same. Now the reason I'm going to point this out and be kind of fussy about this is it depends on how you lock in that magnet. If you choose to put the magnet in your project, you need to do this very specifically. If you're not going to put a magnet in there, you can just quilt the lines in any order you want, not a big deal. If you do want to put the magnet in there, then let me point out that here's our opening. The magnet is going to be locked into the center grid right here. So what that means is if you're going to quilt this, In fact, you can even put a little X on that. Just to remind yourself, X marks the spot. Maybe I'll put a little X right there. To just stay away from that center. So you are going to be able to put in this line and this line and this line if you're going to quilt this. This, and this. So it's like that, all right? In fact, I might even just iron those other lines away. Let me just do that. So you get the gist of what we're doing here, all right? Quilt that, then you'll bring your magnet in here, into that position, right where you want it to lock in, like that. And then with my pins, I'm going to kind of block it out of the way so it can't come interfere when I do the next lines of quilting. Do you see how that works? So I'm quilting that thing into position. So you get the idea. I've locked that in there. Now I wouldn't have drawn the lines and ironed them away. I was just trying to show you we're just putting that magnet right in that spot. Now obviously if you did iron them away, just simply put them back at this point and come back and finish your quilting. So now be sure to tuck that edge in so when you do your quilting you're intercepting that as well. Now you can go ahead and whip stitch that edge close. I think I've got a needle and thread here. You don't need to see me do a whip stitch. You've seen me do that probably plenty of times. Just get that. You could do that by machine, but it will be showing, so I recommend you do it by hand. So that's all quilted. Now to bring the sides up, if you want your tray to look just like this, let me get that. We already have one quilted. Let's bring that out instead. If you want your tray to look just like this, with the little ditzy in the middle and this on the outside, whatever's on the outside, you need to flip it over and you're looking at the fabric on the outside. If you want to have a 2-inch side, you will draw a 2-inch grid. So let's say I want to make mine just like this. I'll bring my ruler along there. I'm going to draw 2 inches. And same here, and same here all the way around. So if you want to have shallower sides, this one has, I think, 1.5 inch, you would be drawing 1.5 inch. So as you can see, the steeper the sides become, or the higher the sides become, I should say, the smaller the surface is for the inside of the bowl. But the sides are higher, so it should be able to hold more things. So now that that is drawn, what we will do at this point is I'm going to bring those sides up until I see that line and that line meet. You see that? That line and that line are meeting right there. I simply take that to my sewing machine. Let's do that together. Now you can coordinate your thread at this point. I recommend using the Masterpiece color card, live color card threads. I could go ahead and pick one of these gorgeous teals, or I could go with a white or contrasting or whatever I want, but use those color cards because that is live thread and you know what you're going to be matching to exactly. So you can see now, trim those threads. That's how you make a corner. So again, just to show you one more time, I've got a line here and that line here. Bring it up until those lines meet, put a pin, straight stitch, and complete that on all 4 corners. That's all there is to making fabric trays at Shabby Fabrics.